News in 5.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
Good day. This is World News in 5 here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Israeli airstrikes have left about 60 people dead across southern and central parts of Gaza, according to health officials in the Palestinian territory, as Israel seeks to root out Hamas militants it accuses of hiding in densely populated areas. The Israeli Air Force reportedly hit approximately 40 targets, which included military infrastructure and buildings containing explosives. Hamas has accused Israel of scaling up recent attacks in an attempt to undermine a ceasefire deal that the United States has been pushing for. Israel maintains that the attacks are an attempt to eliminate Hamas. Separately, Israeli officials announced on Tuesday that they will begin to send draft notices to ultra-Orthodox Jewish men to fight in the war in Gaza. They were exempted until a Supreme Court ruling in June. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government relies on two ultra-Orthodox parties in its coalition. The decision is expected to cause some tension within the country, with protests previously taking place when the government attempted to enlist ultra-Orthodox Jewish men. Israeli military forces have been conducting air and ground offensives in the Hamas-run Gaza Strip in response to Hamas's terror attack on Israel on October 7 of last year. Hamas militants killed about 1,200 people and captured more than 250 hostages in their attack that sparked the war in Gaza. Israel says it believes Hamas is still holding 116 hostages, including 42 that the military says are dead.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
In other news overseas, a report by the United Nations Human Rights Office accuses the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or DPRK, of widespread forced labor, which in some instances may constitute a crime against humanity of enslavement under international criminal law. Volker Turk, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, said in a statement to coincide with the release of the report that the testimonies in this report give a shocking and distressing insight into the suffering inflicted through forced labor upon people, both in its scale and in the levels of violence and inhuman treatment. The report is based on various sources, including 183 interviews conducted between 2015 and 2023 with victims and witnesses of forced labor who managed to escape and now live abroad. James Heenan, representative of the UN Human Rights Office in Seoul, told journalists in Geneva that the strength of this report is that it is based on a large amount of first-hand information, noting that North Korean officials are fully aware of their concerns. According to the report, people in North Korea are controlled and exploited through an extensive and multi-layered system of forced labor that provides a source of free labor for the state and acts as a means for the state to control, monitor, and indoctrinate the population. The report identifies 6 forms of forced labor which are institutionalized through the country's prison systems, school, compulsory state-allocated employment, military conscription, shock brigade deployments, and a system of overseas labor.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
And news from the Philippine Foreign Service Post, Philippine Ambassador to Cambodia, Flerida Ann Camille P. Mayo, paid a courtesy call on Cambodian Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Sok Chenda Sofia. At their first formal engagement, the Philippine Ambassador Mayo and Cambodian Deputy Prime Minister reaffirmed the strong sense of kinship between their countries that has been built over centuries of friendship and as members of the ASEAN community. They hoped for a proactive implementation of bilateral agreements in various areas. Both sides also discussed regional and multilateral concerns against the backdrop of rising global challenges. Ambassador Mayo lauded the dynamism attending practical bilateral cooperation in the fields of defense and security, education and culture, and investments. The Cambodian Deputy Prime Minister observed that further progress in bilateral initiatives related to economic cooperation, tourism, and the fight against trafficking in persons and cyber fraud would be mutually beneficial. Deputy Prime Minister Sok Chenda Sofia will be traveling to the Philippines next month for an official visit and the 4th Philippines-Cambodia Joint Commission for Bilateral Cooperation or JCBC in August 2024.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.
And that concludes today's edition of World News in 5. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this has been Steph Vicente. Good day and stay safe, everyone.
World News in 5.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes.
World News in 5.
Here on Radyo Pilipinas Worldwide.